Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In Surah Al-Araf, verse 176, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "So relate to them the stories so they may reflect." And in Surah Yusuf, verse 3, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "We relay unto you, O Muhammad, stories of revelation. And before you receive revelation, you were among those who knew nothing about the Quran." So, I have my special guest with me, my son, who is going to be we're going to be going through some of these stories together, which is the stories of the Prophet, starting with the Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and
Going down to Prophet Muhammad.
that's right, all the way to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to convey these stories. Do you know what convey means?
It means like to tell each other about the stories. Like
That's
pass
right.
them on.
Pass on the message. That's right. To convey these stories, for a few different reasons, but we're going to focus on a few, on a handful. The first is to understand them, learn from them, and take lessons from them. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's waiting for your acknowledgement. Okay. And the second is because they act as role models, right?
Mhm.
These are men who received revelation and in some cases had direct communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they either received new revelation or they were carrying on the message from a previous prophet. Do you know the difference between somebody, do you know the word for when somebody is either bringing a brand new message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Oh, so the brand new one is a Rasul and the Nabi is the one who continues the other one.
I believe it's the other way around. So a Rasul is somebody who brings something new, and a Nabi is somebody who carries on the message from a previous prophet.
No, that's what I said.
Okay. I thought you said it the other way around.
Yeah.
That's okay. So the difference between the two is that firstly we've got to understand that all the prophets primarily they call towards the same thing. And when we say primarily they call towards the same things, every single one of them said
They all had the message of worship Allah alone.
yes, that was the core message for every single prophet. And then they had a second one as well. And that second one was either I have a new set of rules for you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which you must follow, or I'm reminding you to follow the rules of the previous prophet, Nabi and Rasul. Right? So, you know, the Bedouins once asked Rasulullah, yeah?
What's Bedouins?
A Bedouin is somebody who is like a traveler, travels through the desert.
Oh, so they're basically like in like areas around Africa and probably some bits of Asia, and they're just traveling a lot.
They are known to travel through deserts. So wherever you find a desert, they probably exist there. Okay, so they travel around a lot, and they once asked the Prophet Muhammad salatu wasalam, and they said, you know, how did this all begin? Okay, so at this moment, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had already passed on the message of Islam to these Bedouins, and in this narration, it's not clear whether they had accepted Islam or not. But either way, they asked the question that when did this all start and how did it all come together? Do you know what they were talking about?
Oh, so it's when the Bedouins came to him and asked him how like wait.
So
I'm
when
not 100% sure how to explain it, but I know what you mean.
when they asked when did this all start and how did this all start, what were they talking about? What were they asking about?
They were asking something about like how did wait. I'm not sure.
Were they talking about the camels, the desert sand, the heat?
It's something about the prophets.
They're actually asking about the whole world.
Oh, so how did it all start? Like
How did everything start? Okay, And you know what the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said? He said there was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his throne, and then he created angels, and then he created the heavens and earth, and then he wrote everything in the tablet. Do you know what the tablet is?
It's the thing where Allah already put everything down what's going to happen.
Okay. Do you know what it contains? Like, what kind of things does Allah tell us about?
It basically has stuff about the future in it.
Like?
Like one of the things Allah has already told us, which is the Muslims will have victory in the end.
Correct. So this tablet, that's a very good point, by the way. Very good point. So this tablet contains a knowledge of everything that has happened and that is going to happen. Because, for us, we can't tell what's going to happen in the future. We don't know the answer to that. Because
so if something's already like you already know what things are like. So it's like in a football match, if there's like a really, really, really bad team that against a really good team, then you're not going to know 100% sure, but you're mostly going to be thinking that the good team's going to win.
Yeah.
And most of the time that is what happens.
That's
so
right.
It's not always 100%, but Allah always knows what's going to happen.
My son pays more attention to football than I do, so okay, you can give that example. I would never have given a football example, but you're right. Okay, it's a bit like there was an earthquake recently in Turkey.
Yeah.
If people had known there was going to be an earthquake,
they'll probably evacuate to other places.
They would have done it in advance, right? They would have put themselves into a position of safety before it actually happened. However, they didn't know, and that's because they don't have the knowledge of what is in the future. No human does. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows about that. Okay? And he wrote everything down that is going to happen in this tablet, and that contains information about everything. How long you will live, what you will earn, how much you will eat, if you're going to be fat or skinny.
Well, what's going to be like your main goal that you want to accomplish?
Correct. All of these things were written down. Okay. Now, some people might say, does this mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls what we do?
No, so we basically have control, but Allah already knows what we're going to be doing.
Very good. Very good. We have what is known as free will. We can choose whatever we want to do. Okay.
Yeah.
Good reply. Cool. So, it's worth mentioning, there's a couple of things, okay? What do you think are the two most important things to every human being that they care about the most? I don't know if you're quite young, so you might not have thought about one of them, but
probably about like their life.
Mm-hmm.
And also what's it called? I can't remember what it was. I can't remember
What do you think it might be?
It's basically their family.
Yeah, but not quite.
Okay.
That is one of the things, though. So they care about their life, how long they will live, and they want to take care of their own lives. Okay, nobody wants to die.
I know.
Okay.
So it's like if someone breaks into your house and threatening to kill you, obviously you're going to try and escape from them.
That's right. And there's another thing. There's another thing that that humans worry about, and that is that they are worried and concerned about how much money they will make. Why?
It's because you need money to survive, to like buy food and
Correct.
other stuff that you need.
People are scared of being poor. That's it. People are scared of being poor. So, here's the interesting bit, okay? The two things that humans worry about the most is how long they will live and their health and their family's health and everything relating to it. And the other part is the money that they will make so that they can feed themselves and their families and the people that they care for. Right? These are two things that they worry about the most. Here's the thing. The amount that how long you're going to live and the amount that you're going to earn and the food that you will eat.
Tablet.
Yes. Before everything was created, before even Adam alayhi salam was created, he was given life. Yeah.
Everything was already
Yes.
written down.
My lifespan, your lifespan, the amount of money that I'm going to make, the amount of money you're going to make was already decreed. Interesting, isn't it? These are two things that people worry about the most. And that's why people say when it comes to trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what it really means, because these are very precious things that you would be worried or concerned about your health and well-being if you were in the middle of an earthquake. Yeah, you would be concerned about it. But
it's because so it's also haram to like let yourself die if you're able to like stop it, if there's a way to stop it which is possible at the time. But if you just let it happen or you do it to yourself, then that's haram and you're sinful.
That's correct. That's correct. You have to take care of your health. Okay. So these two things are the most important things, okay? And they were promised to us, and they have been decreed and made a note of and determined before we were even created. Not just our creation, but the creation of the whole of mankind, before the earth was created. Everything. Okay? So that's a point worth mentioning. Now, you know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the angels that He is going to create humans? Okay?
They asked a lot, why you go to create humans? Because they're going to damage your creations. So it's like with trees, people are cutting trees down and they're also like littering and they're basically like messing stuff up.
I think you already know this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me touch on it. You know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the angels that He's going to create humans, and these are humans generation after generation that will live on earth, and He said that they are going to have free will, that they're going to be able to think for themselves.
They have like a brain.
Yes. And the angels responded with,
well, why are you going to make them?
why? Yeah, they questioned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, why are you going to create such a creature?
Yeah.
Why did they question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
It's because they could already see what the jinns were doing on Earth. It's because on Earth it's basically like the jinns were there. So basically.
Hold that. I want to hear the story, okay? Because I want to tell you the rest of what the angel said. Okay, because the angel said, why are you going to create people who will disobey you, cause mischief, kill each other, while we, i.e. the angels, while we do nothing but worship you? So why are you going to create something else that is eventually not going to worship you and cause problems? Okay? And they were asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why are you even going to create this thing that's going to cause a lot of problems? Okay? And you were going to say something, and because my next question is going to be, how did the angels know that people are going to cause problems on Earth? I'm asking you, how did the angels know?
So it's like when I so it's basically like when the jinns were on Earth. So it's like us humans, how we live on Earth. So basically, the jinns were there instead of us. They were already attacking and fighting each other, and already like messing things up for each other.
Yeah.
They're already fighting a lot. And also they have like a mind very similar to our one. Like they have free will, so they can do what they want to. And because they were making a lot of corruption, and Allah told them that we have free will as well. They knew that us humans are obviously going to do stuff that aren't good. Like they're going to kill each other.
You're right. You're right. The shayateen, they lived on Earth before humans, and they caused a lot of problems. And then the angels were sent to destroy them.
With Shaitan as well.
That's right.
So
Destroy them and push them away from lands. So there's a
they're only in quiet places around trees.
correct.
And they're usually around at night time.
That's right. So they are they're the opposite of humans.
Yeah.
In the sense that
They just have the same.
yeah,
mindset.
they wake up at night, they go to sleep during the day. Okay, and they are made of smokeless fire.
So basically, like some invisible fire with no smoke.
That's right, and they are much faster than humans.
Yeah, it's because there's this story. Was a Prophet Solomon who had the palace, the really big one. It's like he had this massive army of animals and jinns and people as well. Who a bird told him about some woman who used to worship the sun. So then after that, he decided to get a jinn to bring her throne to his palace. And then when he did it, one of them said, "I could do it before you get up," and then the other one said, "I can get it before you even blink." And then he was able to do it as fast as he can blink.
I'm going to want you to share that story with me when we get to the story of Prophet Sulaiman.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk about that in more detail. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the story of Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Okay, do you know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Adam from?
He made it from like clay, water, and some bits of dirt as well.
And where was that dirt or soil or clay? Where did it come from?
Was it from Jannah?
Nope.
Probably from the earth.
Yes, it was taken from earth.
Oh.
And where from the earth was it taken?
From the ground.
Where though? Which part of the ground? What kind of ground was it?
I don't know.
It's actually taken from all the different parts of the ground.
Really?
Okay, so there are some people, you know, like you get clay and mud and rocks. It's all in the ground, okay? And you get very different textures. So you get some that's really soft and squidgy, and then
some of them are like they feel soft and they leave stains like chalk.
that's right. And some they don't smell so good, and some you can squeeze them and then they like change shape, a bit like when you mix water and mud together.
Yeah.
Some are really wet, some are not so wet, and then you can go.
Some of them are like really small, like grains of sand.
Correct.
Like gravel.
Yeah, and then as you become then they can become a little bit more like rocks. Then they can become almost like mountains, and the closer you go up to the mountain, it's like you get really, really big rocks, and they're really cold.
Yeah.
And they're hard to break into.
Because of all of the air from so it's like above everything the air conditions are a lot different, and there's not as much oxygen there because the trees can't go that high, and also the weather's slightly different, like it's more cold.
That's right. That is very true. That is very true. But I wanted to give you an analogy. The reason, you know, the different types of texture. You know what I mean by texture?
Yeah, it means like how something feels.
Yep. So the different types of texture that exists for things that are in the ground. Okay?
Yeah.
Gold comes from the ground. Rocks come from the ground. Sand, soil, mud, all the different types that we just spoke.
Metals.
Yeah, all
Bronze, silver, gold, platinum, like emeralds and diamonds as well.
You are right. But I'm trying to give you an example, okay? I'm laughing because I wasn't expecting you to give these examples, by the way. That's why. Okay, so but they're all this. Everything is right, and it's all the right stuff. I just don't want to go off the topic. Okay.
Okay.
So the things, all of these examples that I've given you of different types, the different types of texture that exists in the types of soils that exist around the world. Okay. When you consider all of these things, what you'll find is that these things can be, the way that they feel can be described similar to people's personalities. So you get some people who are really tough, you get some people who are really weak, you get some people who are really soft, some people who are very harsh, some people that are very cold. All of these different
It's
qualities.
basically the many different rocks have them.
Correct. And you get people in different colors as well, like their skin colors are different.
Yeah.
You get people who are closer to white, and you get people who are closer to dark brown, and everything in between as well. And the rocks and the soils from the earth are exactly the same. They have different textures and they have different colors. Okay, and that is one of the reasons why the children of Adam alayhi salam have different personality types, different tonality types, different colors, and all of the children are unique in their own way. It's really hard to find two rocks that look exactly the same, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
unless it's like gravel, you might see some similar ones, but you don't always see exactly the same ones.
that's right, yeah. So, do you have anything else that you want to add on at that point?
No.
Okay, cool. So, you see, so when Adam alayhi salam was created, and he was in the heavens, his body was laid down flat in Jannah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was there for a few days.
Correct.
And
And
he was Shaitan was going through him and looking around because he'd never seen something
that's right.
like a human.
And what his body was, we were talking about soils, and he was made from clay. Okay. And at this time, he didn't have, well, to my knowledge and how we understand it, he didn't have blood flowing through him. It was just his body. He wasn't
Yeah.
alive, yeah?
So it's when he first came alive when Allah blew his soul into him.
So our bodies, when you consider clay or mud, when you leave it out in a nice climate, it doesn't have to be, even if it's not too cold or too hot, something just really nice temperature, because that's what Jannah is like.
In the middle, like warm.
Yes, not warm, not cold either.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Correct. What happens with soil is that it becomes dry. Okay, so I have a glass here, and if you hit soil, when it becomes dry, it becomes like clay. So give me a pen. So see that when you hit it, it makes that noise. Okay, that's what Prophet Adam's body sounded like when Shaitan came and knocked on it.
Oh, it's because when he came alive, his body came a lot more softer.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right. Let's just touch on something very quickly. What was Shaitan doing with Adam alayhi salam?
He was looking around him and he was just going through.
No, but why was Shaitan in Jannah?
It's because before then he never done any evil actions. It's only when all of the angels and Shaitan were told to bow down to Adam, he said, well, why should I bow down? Because he's made out of dirt and I'm made out of fire, I'm better than him.
Correct.
I love that. That's when he was sent to the hellfire.
That's
and then
right.
that's when he made the promise to take as many people as possible to the hellfire.
That is absolutely right. So, Shaitan, also known as Iblis, yeah, he from amongst the shayateen, he was one of the good ones. Okay, and he was so good, and he followed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands so well that he was raised to Jannah. He got to live in Jannah with the angels because he was so good. Okay, and when Adam alayhi salam was created, he would, he'd go around and look at his body and think, what is this? And he would knock on it, without breaking this. He'd knock on it, tap on it, and try and figure out what's going on.
He'd even go through it.
That's right, he would go through it as well. And he was asking, what is this hollow thing that is sitting here? It's like, it's not strong, it's too weak, it can't really do anything. And you know what he said at the time? And he was looking at the body of Adam alayhi salam. And you know what he said?
Yeah.
He said that if I am given power over this, it was the other way around. He said that if this thing is given power or superiority over me, then I will disobey it.
Oh, so it's like if Prophet Adam were to tell Shaitan what to do, like boss him around, he wouldn't listen to him.
That's right. So he's saying that
ignore him.
That's right. He was saying that if this thing, and he was talking to the body of Adam alayhi salam, and he was referring to it as something that's about to come to life. Yeah.
It's because he didn't know what it was.
Yeah, that's right. It was a body. It's interesting, isn't it? When people die, nobody really calls them by their name anymore. They just call them the body.
Yeah. It's because so basically people are kind of like a bit kind of like immortal, but it's like your soul that's mortal, your body isn't. It's because you need your soul in your body to make your body live, and then when you die, your soul's not just like finishing, like the soul's done. It goes up to Allah in the heavens.
That is correct. So the soul is also known as Ruh, and Ruh is the secret of life. So when people die, there's nothing, you can't weigh, like the weight of the body doesn't change.
Yeah, they just feel a little bit more heavier.
Yeah.
Because their soul is not in there.
Mm.
And the soul kind of makes it more lighter.
No, they weigh about the same. I think it feels harder to lift somebody who's not alive, because now they're not, they're not able to move their body around. So you have to carry what is known as dead weight. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Iblis promised at the time that he is going to be an enemy to this creation. Interesting, isn't it? Because Adam alayhi salam was not even hadn't been given life yet.
He's basically like speaking too soon, because if you like see someone and you just look at them and you just say I want to be enemies with them, and then when you actually get to meet them, you realize that they're really good people, but you can't really do anything with them, but because you already promised that you can't, they're going to be the big enemy of them.
That's right. And in his case, Iblis's case, he had promised to become our enemy, the enemy of all humans, before anybody was created. Mm-hmm. So he has been an enemy since day one, and he always will be. I actually have it written down here. When I was saying earlier about what he was saying about Adam alayhi salam, I've got it written here. He said, if this is made superior to me, as in put in charge of me, or more powerful or stronger than me, then he said,
both is like respected more.
That's right.
And it's like he's treated more well.
That's right. So if this is made superior to me, I will misguide it, and if this is given authority over me, I will disobey it.
So he's basically doing all the things that a human won't like.
That's right. And Shaitan has been an enemy since then. So Adam alayhi salam, he is a little bit special, okay, compared to not just other prophets, but also compared to other human beings, okay? Do you know what makes Prophet Adam alayhi salam a little bit unique?
It's because he was the first person to ever live, and he was also he's also a prophet, the first prophet as well.
First prophet, first person to ever live, first prophet. What else?
He's also the first man.
I'm going to say there's something similar.
What?
I'm going to give you one. Um, he was the only person to be made physically with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands.
And also he's the first person to not experience childhood because he's created as
I'll give you that one. Yes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. He did not age. He did not get older or younger. He was never born. He didn't go through childhood. And
he was just born as a
he was just born at the age that he was and the way that he looked, and he died in exactly the same way. Okay. There's also one other thing. You know the ruh that you were speaking about earlier, the spirit?
Yeah.
Who or what? How did the ruh go into Adam alayhi salam?
So it's like Allah blew the ruh into him.
Okay.
And then when it went into him, as soon as he like came to life, he sneezed.
Mm-hmm.
He said Alhamdulillah. Allah said Alhamdulillah, and then he said Yahdikullah.
That's right. I'm going to come on to that because
I'm
that's
still follow that today.
correct. That's one of the things that has been gifted to us from Jannah. But there's one more thing that's unique. Okay, you know when humans are given life, how does the ruh enter their body?
Wait. Don't know.
Angels.
Oh, so the angels bring it.
The angels bring the ruh, the spirit, the secret of life, to the body, and then it goes in, and that's what gives you life. Okay, with Adam alayhi salam, it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that put the ruh inside Adam. So that makes him unique as well, because for everybody else it was angels. Okay, and there's one more thing. He is, you ready? The only person that angels have bowed down to.
Yeah.
Only to Adam alayhi salam. Not to any other prophet, not to any other man. The angels were commanded to bow down to Adam alayhi salam. Okay, so these are some of the things that make Adam alayhi salam unique. Now, I want to go into a few more things, but we're going to break this up, okay? So that was what we will call as part 1 of the story of Adam alayhi salam. We shall have more to go. We're going to go through all the prophets. We have, for the record, for those of you watching or listening, wherever you might be, I'm going through the stories of the prophets with my son, and I believe that these stories are really important, and they revive what are really good role models for children today, which I believe children are lacking today. So me and my son are studying the stories of the prophets, and we will continue into the life of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Possibly we'll go into the Sahaba, inshallah, however long we continue to do this for. Make dua that we are able to, and make dua that this is a successful project, and make dua for us that everybody watching, listening, wherever they are, will benefit. So feel free to share this and pass it on if you found it beneficial. But we're going to go through all of the stories of the prophets. We're going to make it family friendly in terms of the examples and the way that we explain it. You will hear from Salahuddin. By the time we get closer to the end, maybe Salahuddin will be on camera as well. But for now, we will keep it like this, and we will continue through the story. So at the moment, we have gone partway through the story of Adam alayhi salam, and we have more to cover to talk about his story, including how he came to earth and what happened with his children, and all of that stuff is still yet to come. But we wanted to touch on some of the things that happened before Adam alayhi salam came to earth, and because life for us only really began when Adam alayhi salam came to earth, because before that he was given life and he stayed in Jannah. And for us,
it was when he ate from the tree which Allah told him not to.
correct.
That's when he was sent down. It's because Shaitan said to if you eat from the tree, you'll be like the angels.
Can you save this for next week?
Okay.
Okay. Next session, yeah? So, my son is keen and eager to share as much as he possibly can. So we have to. I want you to treat this, yeah, like other people are learning from this as well. So we can't give them loads of different examples and different stories from different parts. We've got to put it all together in one place in order and make sure everybody understands it. Because if we give them different examples from different prophets and different stories, then it's going to get confusing, right? Cool. So we're going to try and stick to it. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, not really. I
Okay.
don't think so.
So وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله وأتوب إليه. Inshallah, we will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.